And welcome back to the Constitutionals Podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. I turned the audio down. This is the podcast for the website, cpluscomedy.com, like I just said. It's a website. Go there. Episode 301. Did I mess up my intro there? I don't know. We'll see. Who cares? Doesn't matter. All right, what's going on? Episode 301, Constitutionals Podcast. I go there. I do things on. I run. I'm like a robot. I just run through things most of the time. What's been going on? Nothing much has been happening. This week is the Open for golf. The golf. I do it for the golf, baby. And I've been watching that. Thank goodness. Why did I pause? Thank goodness YouTube TV has a quad view or a split view. If you don't know, YouTube TV, as expensive as it is, has some niceties that I wish would spread beyond sports. But if there's multiple sporting events on, then you unlock a thing called split view, which you can, you go to your menu on YouTube TV and you click, oh, there's golf and hockey on. And they offer up a split view for that. But oftentimes you do not get to choose the split view. I'll say that. For the Open, they have, and I have not seen this before, but they've been doing. You can watch the split view of one stream or two stream or three streams or four streams. So, which is nice. So that's what I've been doing for the past couple of days. Just a couple hours of doing that. When I was on the bike yesterday, on the indoor bike, obviously, I was watching golf instead of watching the news in the morning. Because quite frankly, I'm sick of the news right now. I just did Late Night Lately, and I was talking about how Late Night Lately is the late night show. Subscribe to that wherever you get your podcast. Watch videos on youtube.com/cpluscomedy. But I was talking about how I don't like it when late night hosts upend all of the comedy and they do a serious talk about, if there was a hurricane or an assassination attempt or like a mass shooting, they go, we condemn these acts and this and that. And I just think, I'm not saying that late night has no place for that, because I do think there's room for serious talks. I love it, as I mentioned before on this Late Night Lately, that I do think that there's room. I love that. I think there's room for that, but I don't think I don't think like comedy should come to a halt, or when you expect comedy, or when the audience is finished clapping, and then Seth Meyers goes, we condemn these acts that we should be able to bring together. Like I don't know. I just feel like it's not a fit. Anyway, that's it. Go listen to that episode if you want to hear me talk about that for 12 minutes. Then I talked about the Emmys, which we'll be talking about soon. What else has been going on? I've been watching golf. I have not seen any movies. Have I? No. I finished The Bear so I was holding off on The Bear for reasons, season 3, and then I said, okay, time to rip the Band-Aid off. Just time to watch The Bear, season 3. And I don't do this, as listeners of this show may know. The douches, like you're probably saying. All dozen of you, including me when I have to check if it's uploaded properly. I don't like watching more than 2 or 3, but mostly 2 episodes of a show in a day. With the exception of The Simpsons. I could put on The Simpsons and just leave it on all day long. Seasons 1 through 35, I could do it all day long. I'm not kidding. I love The Simpsons. I think it's so great. Again, I don't know if I've mentioned this, but if I had like a coffee shop or a place, if I owned a store that would have like a TV on all day, I would just play The Simpsons. It's not offensive. It's something everybody can enjoy. One time I walked into the coffee shop down the street from me, and they had The Simpsons on. I was like, this is rad. I hate sitting in there, though, because every time I leave, I smell like coffee. And it's like such a confined space when they cook food. It gets on your clothes. They also serve alcohol, which I've never had. Anyway, so, yeah, I just watched The Bear. It was fantastic. I stay away from the internet, so I don't know. I didn't know until after the fact that people were taken aback by the cameos and that people felt it was to a lesser degree as good as the second season. I love the second. The second season is just a wonderful follow up to television, and because I read that stuff after the fact, I'm thinking, oh, you know what? Like this season, there's an episode where John Cena pops up as he's related to one of the characters, and he just pops up, and I went, that is shocking. And then I read criticism of the season. I went, that makes sense. That was the only distracting one. Everything else felt fine. There's a bunch of chefs that showed up in the last episode. And I know that the season was shot back to back with season 4, so it really felt like it was a part 1, part 2 situation, which has its pluses and minuses. It's an issue I have with the Harry Potter movie, the last 2 Harry Potter movies, and the last 2 Twilight movies, and the Hunger Games movies. I still have not seen. This is not a joke. I love the Hunger Games franchise. I still have yet to see Mockingjay Part 2. It's always on free services, and I just don't want to watch it with commercials. I'm watching the Forever Purge right now on Prime. It has taken me a heck of a long time to get through it because it's on Freevee, which is on Prime. All right, let's get into this because we got a lot to talk about. This comes from the New York Times, written by Matt Stevens. To bring back a college football video game, it took 11,000 paydays. So one of the reasons why there's a lot of reasons why the college football games went away. While NCAA football, the video game, went away. It was for EA. They would end up having to pay people, which they don't want to do, and it was just diminishing returns for them. But fans love the NCAA games because you could play those games. You could play with your favorite college. You could have this whole dynasty in college. And then if you played Madden, you could take that character or your team or whatever, your character mostly, and then you could, he graduated from college and we're going to send him to the NFL. And now he can play in the NFL. I can take my University of Florida player and send him to the Dolphins. Or Jacksonville. I should have said Jacksonville Jaguars. That's a much better team I enjoy watching. A primary reason many fans buy a new version of the same sports game every year is to play with updated team rosters, ones filled with off-season acquisitions and unbridled optimism. But to comply with amateurism rules, college sports titles like the popular NCAA football franchise long had to fill those rosters with thinly veiled stand-ins. Because if you take somebody's likeness, they're going to have to pay. That's why Charles Barkley isn't in the NBA games, because he doesn't want to be a part of that situation. But LeBron James, Steph Curry, they get paid. Serena Williams, if there's a new top spin, I think they just came out, she gets paid. Simone Biles, if there was a gymnastics game. In the Sonic and Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, which I hope there's another one this year. There's not. When those games were popular, when they were coming out on the Wii and the Wii U, and I think on the Switch, I don't know, they had gymnastics in there because it was Olympic sports. But the landscape has undergone seismic shifts, and players can now be paid for the use of their name, image, and likeness, and which I think that was a huge reason why I did not like college sports. That, and also I just don't like white people yelling at brown kids who do not get paid for what they do for them. That was like a big step back. One time I went to a bachelor party, and it was in Athens, Georgia, and the guy who was getting married went to Georgia Tech, and so he and some of his frat brothers and me were all part of the bachelor party, and we went down to Athens, and on top of going to a strip club that night. The only one I've been to, and I never will go again. But on top of that, we also went to the Tech UGA game, which is a big thing that white people enjoy every single year. They love to get drunk. But we went to that game, and Tech won. We all had a good time. But like the UGA fans, when they realized that they were going to lose in the fourth quarter, they started leaving, and there was like crying. And I remember very specifically turning and looking at a guy who was, I don't know, 30 feet away from me, and he was bent over, just bawling his eyes out. Now, something could have happened, but he was with a bunch of his guy friends. And I remember just watching him bawling. I'm just thinking, my man, it's college football. You're not friends with those people. And also, those guys, they're going to forget about this in 6 hours. Anyway, that's just not my bag. I've cried over small things before. I don't do that in public. And mostly I just get mad. And I threaten my pets. I go, how dare you? I throttle you. I'm kidding. The practice came under fire as they push to pay college athletes. I'm reading the wrong section. I am so sorry. See, this is why I'm unprofessional. I was going to say unprofessional. All right, so building the rosters for every Division I team from scratch was a technical challenge for EA Sports. Lay down. And they spent more than $6 million to secure athlete participation. Each player who opted in and was ultimately included, whether Heisman Trophy favorite or third-string guard, is receiving $600 and a deluxe edition of the game, which is valued at $100. I think paying, I think paying people like a baseline is a good idea. That's all college athletes should get paid. I think they should all get, on top of the scholarship, they should all get money. And it doesn't matter because there are producers out there who make 12 times as much as me. You know, as long as I'm a part of the show or the movie or whatever, then I'm getting paid. But I shouldn't be mad that Judd Apatow is making more money than me because he's earned his right to be that way. Turn there. At least 100 college athletes, including the 3 on the cover, I don't care about those people, were offered additional money to promote the game on social media. That's great. That's how things should work. If you are the college quarterback of UGA, if you're the number 1 quarterback, if you're the running back for the Sooners, the Oklahoma Sooners, and people know who you are and you have a following, you have 22,000 followers, yes, that's how you should get paid. In the end, more than 1,400 athletes gave their consent to be included, though the game will feature fewer, roughly 85 players from all 134 teams. They signed up via an app and will be paid out directly into their bank accounts this summer. That's great. I love it. I think that's a very smart thing. And we should continue to pay these people. And also realize that they are between the ages of 18 and 22 and not to take this so seriously. Because only 1% of them will go to the majors and for baseball, for football, for soccer, hockey, whatever, tennis, golf. Not a lot of them will make it. So let them enjoy these years that they're doing this and don't put such an emphasis on it. And don't be racist. All right, this comes from Deadline, written by Armando Tinoco. I've never run across this person before. Good Morning Football cast with new faces and premiere date set for LA relaunch on NFL Network. Good Morning Football Overtime to stream on the Roku channel. There's a lot going on in this thing. I just saw, okay, speaking of sports, I just saw an ESPN headline pop up that says, Rory McIlroy admits he was thinking about where he was going on vacation after 22 holes at the Open. He was not playing well. Neither was Tiger, but I support both of those guys. A lot of people were not playing well at the Open, and it will be up in the air to see who wins. The NFL Network has set the cast and premiere date for the Good Morning Football relaunch from their LA studios this year. If you don't know, at the end of this past football season, which I didn't know until a couple of months ago, NFL Network canceled Good Morning Football. They put them on break, and then they started letting people go, and they were going to move the show from New York to LA. This show is such a great New York show, and it was so good and so fun. It's just a great football talk show. I will say this until the end of time. The current crop of shows between ESPN and Fox and CBS, I guess, I don't know. The current crop of shows where they have to be a catch-all for all sports. So the get-ups, the first takes, all that junk, I don't think is very good when it comes to talking about sports, because they have to have hot takes, and they have to fit everything into a 7 to 12 minute segment, and they're screaming. The shows get better when they get, and more refined when they get to these very specific shows. If you go to MLB Network, they're going to have the best baseball analysis. When you get to I guess NBA TV. When you get to NBA TV, they're going to have better NBA analysis compared to First Take. When you get to NFL Network, same thing. It's just in golf, and I love watching the Golf Channel. I don't know about Tennis Network because they were gone from YouTube TV for a long time, and now I only watch them when big events are on. Jamie Erdahl, Peter Schrager, and Kyle Brandt are coming back to the show. I believe that Peter Schrager and Kyle Brandt will be splitting time between New York and LA. Jason McCourty's not coming back. He's staying in New York. The show is going to relaunch Monday, July 29th at 8 p.m. What? Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it was going to be in the morning. Interesting. I don't like that at all. Joining the table are Cherie Burris and former NFL star Akbar Gabalajamalia. Cherie Burris, I did not know who that was. She was a sideline reporter, and now she's making it to the big leagues. Look at her. I'm excited. They're gonna have a big showcase. People love this show. What they should have done with this show is they do not have a big social media presence, and they never ever put their clips online. And so if you ever saw anything, it'd be like a scant Twitter post or whatever. But they should have clipped out that show, put it on Instagram, put it on YouTube, because watching Kyle Brandt do the run of the week, whatever it was called, Angry Runs. But watching him do that was so fun and so funny. I love that. Peter Schrager is so smart. He's been doing this for decades. I don't know how long he's been doing it. He's been doing it for a long time. And I just love watching those people talk about football because they're so smart and knowledgeable. And to cancel this show and have it off for so long, they usually go dark after the football season, but they would usually be back by now talking about drafts and what could happen, all that stuff, which is the type of analysis I do not like for any sports. I do not like watching Mina Kimes talk about what could happen this year for football. I hate that. I want to talk about what's in season. So I take some breaks when it comes to sports analysis in the off seasons. So I don't watch anything with baseball in the off season. I don't watch anything with football in the off season. No. Anyway, with the relaunch of Good Morning Football, the GMFB brand will be expanding to GMFB Overtime, which is a new 10-hour daily show that premieres on Roku channel on Monday, July 29th at 10 a.m. Eastern. Oh, okay. You know what? I think this 8 p.m. thing might be wrong. Yeah, why would it relaunch Monday at 8 p.m.? And then the 10 a.m. would happen before that? No, so it's probably 8 a.m. Good Morning Football is so good. I think what I think happened is that NFL Media, NFL Network, along with I believe NFL Media is the whole company, but I believe they just got rid of their New York studio, which I don't know why. I understand that their LA studio might be a little bit more fitting of them, and they said they're like down the street from SoFi, but I don't know. I think having the New York branding would have been so good. Oh my God. Good Morning Football is one of my favorite. Like, it's up that and Inside the NBA. But it just NFL makes billions of dollars, and they refuse to spend any money on NFL media. They got rid of all the what's it called? The documentary unit. I believe they got rid of Yeah, those people. And they cut back on a lot of people like Will Silva. I'm going to watch it. But this Roku channel BS, put on YouTube. Cut some video. You have editors, you have producers. Just cut some video. Cut some clips. It's easy. Trust me. All right, let's move on to how long are we doing this? Okay, let's talk about the Emmys. I'm gonna do this. I'll do this. I'll do the other story later. See, this is what I should be doing: is moving stories around. The Emmy nominations have a lot of surprises. Again, I don't know if I mentioned this. I think I mentioned this in Late Night Lately, actually. We had the Emmys at the top of, we had last year's Emmys, the 2023 Emmys, at the top of this year because of the strikes. So it shouldn't even, it shouldn't matter if we already had Emmys or not. That was for last year. And that was for the last seasons. Now we're talking about this season's Emmys. I talked about the late nights ones, but this year is great. We've got a diverse lineup, and it is just fantastic to see how people are embracing people of color, how they're embracing the queer community, how they're embracing women. The Bear and Shogun, both Hulu and Disney shows, lead with 25 for Shogun and 23 nominations for The Bear. It's sensational. The Bear won 10 last year. Remember. FX's Surge made it the second most nominated network. Hey, stop eating that. Stop. You can, I understand what moms can see everything. All I heard was her. And I have noise canceling headphones on. All I heard was the cat chewing on a wire. God, don't act like it's 5:02. You're eating in 28 minutes, guys. Calm down. FX is behind Netflix's 107 nomination totals. HBO and Max are in third at 91. Which wasn't one of the top two networks for the first time in multiple decades. Wow. This is a bit of a bye year for HBO, apparently, as a number of its top contenders either ended their runs or didn't air last season due to production delays, which is true. John Landgraf is proud of the shows, along with Shogun and The Bear, Reservation Dogs, in its final season, the show starring Indigenous people. Pulled up a couple of nominations. Reservation Dogs is a fantastic show. Only Murders in the Building landed Selena Gomez her acting nomination. And also this comes from Deadline, written by Rosie Cordero. Selena Gomez becomes the most nominated Latina producer, which is big news. That's huge. I believe Ava Longoria, she beat out Ava Longoria for that. Speaking of Latinas, Sofia Vergara, this comes from The Wrap, written by Phil-Anna Ng. Sofia Vergara is the first Latina since Anya Taylor Joy to land acting nominations for a limited series. Second. It's ridiculous. Anya Taylor Joy was nominated for The Chess Show, which the name I'm forgetting right now. And this is the first time Sofia has been nominated since 2013. I forgot about Griselda, it's that limited series about the cocaine, the Colombian drug lord Griselda Blanco, also known as the cocaine godmother, and the makeup in that show was crazy. She looked crazy. Oh man, which is why I forgot about it, because I just like, okay. Had the show somehow squeezed into this year's ultra competitive limited series or anthology category, Vergara would have been the first Latina EP nominated since Celia D. Costas, who won for Angels in America in 2004. Man, that's great. Since I did mention Reservation Dogs, Lily Gladstone and Callie Reis make Emmy's history as first Indigenous women nominated for acting. This comes from Variety, written by Clayton Davis. They were nominated for, Lily was nominated for True Detective. Oh, excuse me, Under the Bridge. Excuse me. And then Kelly was nominated for True Detective. Am I correct in that? True Detective Night Country. That's season 4. Let me see. I'm going to type in Kelly. Nope. Yeah, Kelly Reis. Yeah, I was correct. I don't know if I'm saying her name right. It might be Reis. And then DeFaro Woon Ai Tai and Taika Waititi also made history as the first lead acting and double nominee for producing. DeFaro is the young man from Reservation Dogs, which was a surprise. That acting nomination was a huge surprise for me. And Taika Waititi, he's good. Great. Whatever. Night Country was also nominated for 19. I'm not going to go through the entire list of things. But HBO's True Detective Night Country, which was nominated for 19 nominations, which I think is very funny because I know people were mad that it starred women. I know people were very mad about that. Saturday Night Live has 17 nominations. I talk about that in Late Night Lately, so go listen to that. And Apple TV Plus has 72 nominations, with shows like The Morning Show, which has 16, Palm Royale, which has 11, and limited series entry Lessons in Chemistry, which has 10. Brie Larson is also nominated, I believe. Netflix's haul included The Crown, which has 18, Ripley, starring Andrew Scott. I don't know his name. The handsome gay guy. I love that guy. He's very handsome. Andrew Scott, is that his name? Yeah, Andrew Scott. He's an artist actor. I'd love to see him act with some people of color, though. And Baby Reindeer, which also has, oh God, what is her name? Shoot. What is her name? I don't want to do this without spoiling it, so for myself, because I still have not seen it. Baby Reindeer. They have the first trans Latina nomination with Nava Mao, who is Mexican. And she's nominated for her performance in Baby Reindeer as the main character's girlfriend, I believe. Richard Gadd as that guy's girlfriend. Yeah, she's nominated this year, which is fantastic. That's amazing. Oh my gosh, what a good year for the Emmys. And also Fallout. Fallout was great on Prime Video, and it's nominated. And so is Mr. and Mrs. Smith. That's amazing. It's just a good year all around between television and streaming. I will say streaming is really coming for the heels of television. And you can say, oh, it's already eclipsed it. But there's, as we see with shows like Abbott Elementary and Saturday Night Live and Hacks, as we see with shows like that, there's still a lot of good things that can come from television. And even so, this past week, Warner Brothers is talking about how they took off a bunch of shows from having the Max banner and just made them HBO shows. Like the Dune Prophecy, I believe the Dune TV show is going to be an HBO show, and I believe the Penguin might be. I don't know. But the reason they're doing that is because the HBO banner is still a much bigger one than that of Max. People aren't, the name recognition is not coming along, which means they should not have named Max. They should have named it, just kept it HBO Max. Yes, HBO Max is saying, with a name like that, you're just saying, oh, it's HBO Plus stuff. But no one knows what Max is. People know it's Disney Plus, Oh, it's Disney Plus. I'm going to have Disney shows and Disney movies plus a lot of everything else. It doesn't make sense for Max to exist. HBO is the name. HBO says they produce Sesame Street. HBO says Sesame Street. And that Crash Test show? It says movies. It says quality TV shows. Even when the shows aren't good. Even when a show like Lucky exists. Is that what that show is called? Lucky. HBO. Yeah, Luck. That's what it's called. Luck. Even when that show killed like 3 horses on set. Dennis Farina's in that show. My God, I have to watch that. Also, The Simpsons, my favorite show of all time, is nominated for Outstanding Animated Program, right next to Bob's Burgers and X-Men '97. I've never seen Blue Eye Samurai, but I believe that's a Netflix show. And Scavenger's Reign, which is an HBO show. But I'm sure they're both great, and I will check them out before, before it airs. There's just a lot of great nominations this year. All right. Listen, if you like what you heard here, head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where there's me talking to famous people. There's some things that are happening. Hopefully, we'll see. It's been a bit of a drought for interviews this year. There's also, if you want to see a video version of the show, head to youtube.com/cpluscomedy, where you can watch video versions of this show, as well as Late Night Lately, which is the late night show, and LinkedIn Logs, which is the jobs podcast. So there you go. I need to start pressing this earlier because I know there's at least 20 seconds before, or 30 seconds before it gets to the part where I can actually start wrapping things up. If you want to follow us on social media, and I implore you to do so, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at C Plus Comedy. Me at Chad Black White. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.